You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Former Long Island Congressman Lee Zeldin has been tapped by Donald Trump to lead the Environmental Protection Agency. Zeldin made the announcement on social media today saying, quote, "We will restore U.S. energy dominance, revitalize our auto industry to bring back American jobs, and make the U.S. the global leader of AI. We will do so while protecting access to clean air and water." Environmentalists say having Zeldin in that office could be an advantage.
The advantages of having Lee Zeldin in this position is that he has a track record fighting for Long Island issues like Long Island Sound funding, marine protection for South Shore estuary waters. He did fight for the EPA to set a standard, a drinking water standard for PFAS chemicals, which is a big problem on Long Island. The main advantage is that he understands climate change. We live on an island.
However, experts also say Zeldin may face pressure from Trump that could affect the EPA's ability to make positive changes.
President Trump, when he was president at first, was not a friend to the environment, right? He's a climate denier. He is someone who wants to drill, baby, drill. He's someone who has false dialogue, such as wind farms cause cancer. So what we want to do is make sure that Lee Zeldin stands strong for us.
Now you can read more about this story. Just go to Newsday.com, click Get More, pull the Newsday TV video box. And Zeldin is not the only New Yorker chosen for the incoming Trump administration. Upstate Congresswoman Elise Stefanik has been picked to serve as ambassador to the United Nations. The 40-year-old has been one of his most loyal allies in the House. At one point, Stefanik was also considered a potential VP pick. And a judge will decide on Tuesday whether to uphold Donald Trump's hush money verdict or to dismiss it. A Supreme Court decision over the summer gave presidents broad immunity from criminal prosecution. The president-elect was convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records. The judge will decide whether to toss the conviction, a new trial, or dismiss the indictment. And one person is dead and 4 others are hurt following an early morning crash that shut down part of the LIE. Police say Deshaun Jones-Rains lost control of his sedan near the Pine Lawn Road in Melville. The 30-year-old ended up crashing into the trees. The Huntington Station man died at the scene. 4 other passengers were taken to the hospital. And high winds and dry conditions this week could mean more risks for wildfires. Sherry Einhorn explains the challenges of fighting brush fires on Long Island.
This was the scene in areas across the island over the weekend. Firefighters from more than a dozen different departments battling brush fires.
There's only certain trucks that are able to go into the woods, the brush trucks that we have that are able to go into the woods to suppress the fire. If we're going to stretch hose off our engines, it's very manpower intensive. Once you put the initial fire out, there's a lot of, we call it mop up. We got to make sure that we continuously soak the area, that we're not going to have a rekindle.
Long Island is currently in what's called a moderate drought status. Sunday night's rain helped a little, but with a forecast of drier conditions and high winds for the next 2 weeks or so, the risk of brush fires continues.
The last time we had any kind of substantial rain was way back in September, and the last time we had an above normal month of rain was back in August. It was actually very wet. But we've got about 60 days here on Long Island with only about 1/3 of an inch of rain, which is almost unheard of for this time of year.
Fire officials say what is adding fuel to the fire is literally this. Dried leaves and branches on the ground feed the fires that have also been keeping the New York State Forest Rangers busy.
I wouldn't say that it's totally unprecedented, but it's certainly been a long time since we've had a fall fire season like this. Since October 1st, the Rangers have responded to 60 fires in the state, totaling about 2,750 acres. And year to date, we've had 112 fires for a total of about 2,890 acres. So just from those stats, almost half our fires and most of our acreage have occurred after October 1st this year.
I'm Sherry Einhorn for Newsday TV.
Now you can read more about this story. Just go to Newsday.com, click Get More, pull the Newsday TV video box. And new data shows there are more than 81,000 military veterans on Long Island. Virginia Huey looks at how Long Islanders are paying tribute to those who have served this Veterans Day.
At St. Paul AME Church in Rockville Center,
Bring with the humble
Members of the NAACP Lakeview branch lifted their voices in song to honor U.S. service members this Veterans Day. Local veterans were treated to a hot meal and gift bags as a show of appreciation for their service and sacrifice. For Doris Hicks Newkirk, organizing this tribute is personal.
Because my dad served in the Navy. He's no longer with us. I lost a cousin, first cousin in the Vietnam War. And I think we just owe it to the men and women that have saluted our country and served so well.
Veterans like retired Colonel Terrence Holliday of Hempstead. He served 37 years in the New Jersey Air National Guard and Air Force Reserves.
I really appreciate the kindness and the gratitude.
Long Island is home to just over 81,000 military veterans. Their service is being honored this Veterans Day, not only here in Rockville Center, but across the island. On the hallowed grounds of Calverton National Cemetery, a crowd of 300 gathered for a musical tribute to veterans, which included songs representing each branch of the armed forces.
Heroism becomes contagious.
In Hampton Bays, the American Legion marked the holiday with a grand reopening of its post. It had been closed all summer for renovations. And in East Hills, members of the Sid Jacobson Jewish Community Center spent the day packing toiletry kits for homeless veterans. Each kit included a heartfelt message of gratitude.
I wrote giving thanks.
In gestures big and small, Long Islanders gave their time in a show of appreciation for the veterans' sacrifice.
This is what saved this country, the veteran.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Now there's a new museum honoring Long Island's naval aeronautics history. Andrew Anger has a story you'll see only in Newsday.
You may not know it, but the beauty of the Sands Point Preserve with its historic Gold Coast estates has a military past. The grounds were once a naval simulation and training facility, most notably for pilots after World War II.
This was one of the actual rooms that was used for training during that period.
This is the new Navy Simulation Museum located at the Preserve in Castle Gould. Jeremiah Bosgang says it honors the former Naval Training Device Center and its groundbreaking development of advanced simulation technology from 1946 to 1967.
A lot of it was secret work that still to this day, all the details are not known.
The centerpiece of the exhibit is an actual Link trainer from the 1940s, donated by the Navy. This was the first ever flight simulator, a marvel of technology of the time, allowing pilots to train safely.
This was a huge breakthrough.
Bosgang says the Link trainer was further developed here, improving pilot skills. But the museum also has a more up-to-date machine. This advanced flight simulator, Bosgang says, has hyper-accurate controls and immersive screens that visitors can try out.
It speaks to that younger generation and maybe interesting them in flights in aviation, in simulation.
In Sands Point, Andrew Enger, Newsday TV.
Now to read more about the museum, go to Newsday.com, click Get More, pull the Newsday TV video box. All right, now let's take a look at your Long Island weather. It was another gorgeous day today. If you were outside, it was just warm enough, but tonight it is going to get chilly. We're in the high 40s, and tomorrow the wind is moving in. We'll be in the low 50s. Taking a closer look at tomorrow, you can see wind pretty much all day, those low 50 temperatures. Now let's take a look at your 7-day forecast to see what kind of week we have in store. Looks like we're dry, but temps are barely scraping 60s. It's going to be a cold one.
Long Island weather is brought to you by PTRC.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.